Hello and welcome to the Rhythm Factory. I'm Eddie C, and together with my co-host Peter D, we're going to bring you in touch with people in and around the music business. This is the podcast that takes you up close and personal. Hi, and welcome once again to TRFP, to some of you known as the Rhythm Factory Podcast, the podcast that brings you up close and personal. Today we have a special guest with us from the family of Voorbergen, and of course my colleague will be here as well, Mr. Peter D. And we have their children with them, Mats and Lisa and Mark, and we have Franca. The reason why we have them here is because we're very interested in how it is to be, let's say, a family with a and music, how that works together as a hobby, as a semi-profession, because you all were at one point professional musicians to a degree, and of course kids come along and then it changes the whole story. So maybe you can tell a little bit about that.
Sure. I was born in the west of the Netherlands, of the country, doing music mostly as a hobby. Started in school band, 15, 16, and at one point in my life we were looking, with the little band that I had, we were looking for a keyboard player, and Franca turned up, and
2 hours late.
2 hours late, so we were like women do. But that's the point where it all got started. And it sort of ended with these two little ones. But in a nutshell, we met each other through music.
Okay, being musicians yourself, and I know you're now more or less hobbyists. Your children are playing music as well, because your son has percussion lessons from me. One of my questions is as a parent, because I know a lot of parents do, some parents don't. But do you have high or hopeful expectations towards your children being in the music and at one point becoming, let's say, semi-pro or pro?
Yes, of course we do. Actually, we talked about it yesterday evening because, they got so much baggage from our history in music that you hope they understand how nice it is to have, an instrument that you can really master, or the ability to play with other people, and the difficult part in that is that it's a hobby which
is it hard to keep them motivated?
It's hard to keep motivated. It's different than like if you start horse riding, you go to that horse and it makes its rounds, and then you go home and it's finished.
Okay.
Unless you have your own horse, but you have to study to get somewhere. And
but is this something that you want them to do, or something from out of themselves?
That's the difficult part.
That's the difficult part, because you know that it's you can see the talent that they have, and I think we can conclude that not just because we're proud parents, but they do have a certain amount of talent, probably more than what I have, but. It still has to come in a natural way. You don't want to push them, and it's an age where it can go the wrong way. I still recall my own start. I got to play guitar. I got lessons, and I didn't really like it. Things got too hard too quickly, so I left it alone for a couple of years, and that was sort of almost the end of my musical career. And then
sure.
I found a friend who could play one song. I could play one song, so together we had two songs, and then it sort of came in a more natural way, and I think that's the way it should come. It shouldn't be because we like it and we understand the joy that music can bring that we want to push them too much.
Sure. But you're right about that. It's nice if you have some people in your life that get you somewhere, and probably not your parents, but others that motivate you or that you look up to, and if you meet them, that's great. If you don't,
sort of a mentor. So Eddie,
yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
But you don't have particular expectations, like they have to achieve something, or
I don't.
No, just that they
Not
have fun and be
Yeah,
stimulated
yeah,
and
they don't
experience
have to
the
go
joy
to
of
the-
music,
no.
basically.
not sort of an end goal.
No.
You want to
No.
get them somewhere, and that means that by the age of 15 they should be there and all that. It's at some point in the day it has to come from themselves, but you can train them a little bit of discipline,
Right.
and we can say, well, Eddie's coming over in a couple of days. Did you do enough already? And want to make sure he travels all the way from Belgium. You want to make sure that little hour that he's with us, that he gets everything out of that hour.
Sure. Yeah.
That's there. So that's all you can do. But it's still a very careful
well,
balance.
I think also that in Holland it's not a real a country where music is a normal thing in upbringing your children. In other countries, maybe it's more pushed, but I mean they have to brush their teeth also, or read books, or it should be integrated more in
Well, they should
in
always
life.
remain children in the first place. I mean,
Absolutely,
at least I think so.
Yeah.
If I look at my own kids,
Yeah.
that I mean, from my kids as well. They, for all my boys, all started out playing instruments, and one is sort of a DJ, and the other one went in the military. But of course, this had nothing. But his hobby though is building car systems. So so he likes to put these big expensive car systems in the American cars. So and my daughter, she's motivated to play bass at the moment, and my youngest son is playing drums. But they're 14. You don't know what's going to happen in the future with that. Peter and I were just talking about the whole thing with the new modern music. Of course, they've got all of these different ways of recording themselves, and of course there's YouTube, there's all of the different apps and so on. So there's enough material available for kids compared to how it was, I think, when we were all growing up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I have a question for you, because you have basically two different musical backgrounds. You're more into jazz music and you're more into rock music. That's right. How does that work for you together as a couple musically?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, I think it works quite well. I think you go in.
Well, it's not. I like jazz. I like a lot of kinds of music. So it's not really that part. But when I listen to Mark's music, like he's more into the symphonic rock scene. There's a lot of overlap. I mean, it's not. Well, I like
It's not so
good
far apart.
harmonies,
Yeah.
and you can find it in any music if you listen carefully.
Yeah, I thought about this one for a while, because it is. I still ask myself how I got to love rock, and it took me a while because, but I finally thought, well, it's probably the energy level. There's a high energy level, and that's what I like. But there's energy in any kind of. I always consider the big bands. They're sort of the heavy metal of jazz. I mean, there's so much energy in that kind of stuff. So, and I think over the years things get merged a little bit more than in the old days when everything was in their own little cubicle. And
A lot of it has to do with the multimedia. It's
yeah,
kind of the world has
exactly.
become smaller via
And
multimedia.
there's plenty of stuff that we both actually like. And I mean, her ears. She likes Steely Dan already at the age of 15, 16. Took me until probably 25th until my ears got to that level that you learn to appreciate those kind of harmonies. But there's so much music and
bass lines, man.
yeah. But there's a lot of stuff.
You always have when I was in the conservatory, I only listened to drummers. like Dennis Chambers and Dave Weckl, all the CDs, Fusion. And if I listen to it now, I say, please stop.
Yeah.
It's too much, too many notes.
Too
But
much
then I
information.
was all for that. So that's gone.
Yeah.
Chick Corea, I was a big fan, and
Yeah.
now I hear it and I think, oh yeah, that was were those days.
But there's sorry.
Yeah, well, I was thinking because you were in a band together,
Mhm.
the Boogie Busters.
Yeah.
Is that right?
We're still on.
That's a commercial band.
Mm.
Yep.
Do you influence each other in the way you perform or in the way you prepare for songs or a gig?
I think it just helps that we can
We can practice together.
rehearse together. The harmony vocals.
yeah.
I never did background vocals until I met Franke, and she's very good at that. So she always gives me one line, and I stick to that line, and she can go around that line anytime,
Well, that's great.
any way she pleases.
Yeah, but on stage we don't really. I mean, I'm not going to wink to him like stop with that solo or whatever. No.
No.
Do you?
But in preparing it just helps if you got someone around the house to just prepare. It stimulates as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. You guys, you know, I know, like I said, if I hear you have a lot of passion for music, and we've spoken, you know, we haven't known each other all that long, but over the years, we've, you know, of course, you've known me for what I've been doing, but I've gotten to meet you and you love, you know, your kids, and I know there's a lot of passion in the family towards music, and you know, you both decided to give up your career to raise a family. I don't know, do you still have any aspirations or ideas about in the future, you know, because the kids are now, you both are 11 years old? So they're now 11. So maybe by the time they're like you said, 15, 16 years old, who knows, might decide to still make music or do something else. Do you all, either individually or as a couple, have plans to maybe kind of like merge that rock and that jazz influence together to write some original material and maybe even perform with it?
We still have sort of
With or without the kids?
No, the moment they're gone, no, we still have a bit of a master plan to conquer the world in music. No, it's not like that. But it's you still have
it might be
ambitions.
interesting to write some symphonic kind of CD with jazz influences that nobody has ever done before or whatever. No.
There's always, I mean, her chemistry works in a different way than mine, and I made a CD once with one of my rock bands, and she contributed a lot of harmony vocals to that, and little things that you start to wonder, well, what if we just have all the time to ourselves? We don't have to worry about money. What's going to happen? And it's still it's a bit of a dream that we may realize.
I saw on the in the bio that I read that you think the most beautiful thing is to create something yourself. You were talking about the CD you made with the rock band. So if you have that aspiration and you can contribute, how nice would it be if you can make something together? And but is it only money involved, or is it like, you know, if we had all the money and the time in the world?
It's time also. I mean, that we play now in the Boogie Busters. It's a commercial band, and we get our kick from amusing the audience and having a good time on stage as well, and trying to get some musical satisfaction by making some medleys or stuff. But it's it's commercial. And that's okay. We keep on playing. We can do that now, and but it's too much to have it all. I mean,
well, it's been, but it's been an escape for quite a while as well. No, when you have kids and when they're young, you tend to just focus on that, the family life and all that.
Sure.
But when there's a gig. You need to prepare. You need to get out of the house, and so it's been great. But we've never really made plans for after that. But there's still certain ambitions, and what you said, creating something out of nothing. That's still, I think, the best thing in music.
Greatest fulfillment.
It is.
Sure.
and there's a lot to it, and it takes a lot of perseverance and dedication. But it's still something that I wouldn't mind doing once more. Shall we?
But if
All right.
So you heard it here.
we can have another conversation when you
Exactly. And you heard it here
Yeah.
first on TRFP.
Yeah,
ladies and
absolutely.
gentlemen. So
But I was
we're gonna
wondering,
hold you
Mark,
to that.
you have a business besides music. Actually, you started
Mhm.
your own company.
Yeah.
Thank
Can you?
God.
Sorry.
Thank God.
Thank God. Can you explain a little about it, and how does it coincide with passion for music?
Yeah, that's a hard one. It's a little bit of two different worlds in a way, but it was for me a natural transition from working for a bank and then finally ending up advising companies about strategy and all that, and it's working out great for us. But they're mostly still two different worlds, but it does setting something up and making it successful. There are a couple of lessons you can learn that can be applied in music as well. I sort of at a certain point I agree that music would remain a hobby from this point onwards, but there's still lessons to be learned from both sides. I always miss the level of creativity in business. It's all very structured. It's about work ethics and getting things done. You don't see a lot of creativity.
You always have to make a certain target. It has to be
Exactly. And most people that I work with, they have that kind of dedication. They are structured. They do that, but they lack the creativity. In music, mostly it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Absolutely.
There's a lot of creativity, but people, they don't get things done. They're not very structured. So if you in music, if you can combine those things, you have that creativity and talent, but you also have a certain dedication, and you know where you're heading to, and you know which steps you have to take. I think that, you can conquer the world, but it's rare that you find that kind of dedication in music.
Well, with your, depending on your kids, which direction musically they decide to go, and maybe another hole in the market, managing.
Oh, that would be fun. I mean, it starts with talent. If you don't have the talent, it's you don't get anywhere. But it is, even in bands, it's so rare that you find the right balance between talent, creativity, and a bit of business sense. Yeah, hard work, business sense. It's rare that you find.
Because you decided to stop completely with work. And now you're just giving private lessons once in a while.
I work for a music school like 20 years now, and at home I teach some pupils and I do some.
Because you guys got an amazing studio room, which is first time I came to visit, I thought, wow, see this big organ, and I saw it.
Well, the organ, that's a touchy point, because when we got married, we bought a house, and I had some savings, and the night I was going to get my savings into the house, I found on the internet the organ I wanted for my whole life. It's a Hammond organ, of course.
C3.
Yeah.
So we bought the organ instead of putting the money into the house. Then there was this
buying a bed or
break.
something.
Then we had the organ, and then we said, okay, now we're going to live together for a few years and have a good time and make some music. But
so the origin was the organ. The organ was the origin.
No, but our children came. I think a month later, we heard that I was pregnant. So I think I might have played 8 hours on that organ, and
so that's going to be the goal. That's going to be the goal, to find something.
I still hope to have some time to get a sort of an organ trio. That's my dream.
Perform with the organ.
Fantastic.
That would be nice, but I have to start studying again to get first on the level I was like 8 years ago. So
okay.
We'll see.
So there are still goals.
Well, I have one little small question to the kids, because they've been sitting here the whole time, very relaxed, watching and listening to their parents speak about them. I have a question. I'll make it simple. Do you like making music?
Yes.
Very much so. And is this something you want to continue with as you get older?
No?
Wil je ermee doorgaan? Wil je daar...
Do you want
What do you want to be? You want something else you want to do when you grow up?
Wat wil je doen als je ouder wordt?
play football or make music?
Because I know you like football, soccer. What we call soccer. You know, I know you like that. And what about you, Lisa?
I will think make music thing.
Yeah. And with you, because you play a little bit of saxophone, right?
No, yeah.
Oh,
Not anymore.
No.
okay.
I play the bass most.
Bass guitar.
Bass, yeah.
All right, and you like the bass more than the saxophone now, or?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
sing,
Yeah.
you dance.
And it almost sounds like we pushed her into the bass, but with the bass, a little bit of drums, guitar, keyboard, we can make a band. I mean,
All right, the
I see
Voorbergen
where you're
band.
heading.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
clever
Yeah.
thinking. Isn't it?
Voorbergen band. Huh? That's right. All right, the hidden band. Yeah. Translate that. No, we got one last question before we close our podcast. We always ask our artists this, of course, is: have you ever had a situation performing either live together or with each other that had a kind of a funny ending, or it was just an awkward
Yeah.
We
thing?
had a lot of them.
Let's see. There was this time when we had also a commercial band. Was a big band with for that evening. We even had horns. There was a promotion gig. It
Right,
was
right.
in a great setting and with spotlights and everything.
Okay.
So we had planned that night that I would do a solo on a guitar. I have this red Roland guitar, and it's great. So and there was a catwalk.
Okay.
There was this song where I would go into the catwalk, stand right at the end, and then start my solo.
Right.
And that was a time when the guitars were a MIDI. So I
Right.
needed a sound source.
Yeah,
So there
exactly.
was this cable between
Connected.
my guitar and
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was essential, of course, because there wouldn't be any sound. So I went, and there was a lot of smoke and drum rolls, and I was going to do the solo. And at that point, our singer stood on the cable.
Oh,
So I started to play, and there was
Nothing.
sound.
no sound. All right. That was what you
And
call a
everyone
silent
was in
solo.
Panic. Where's the cable? Horrible.
And you never had anything?
Yeah, well, you always have the usual drunks and addicts and all that go stumbling on your guitar pedals and all that. But one of the funny things was also with the commercial band. We were always playing party
Yeah.
music, so a lot of
Mhm.
dance stuff you can dance to, disco, funk, and
Yeah.
stuff. So we were already we were somewhere in Twente, and so the east of the country,
Yeah.
a little bit of a traditional region, and we were already playing for 2 hours, way into the third set probably. Suddenly a guy comes up to me, and that always happens while you're playing, so they want to talk to you while you're
Okay,
playing.
All right.
And I could, after a while, I could make out what he was actually saying. He said, "Do you play any party music?" And I said, "Yeah, like what we're playing now." "No, real party music." And I said, "What you mean?" "Well, stuff like Kabouter Plop." And so Kabouter the Plop for your audience. That's the kind of children program, television program. Very silly, but to them that was real party music.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That kind of stuff.
So that was.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're gonna round things off. We wanna thank you, Mark and Franca and Mats and Lisa, for coming and joining our show today. Once again, another thank you to my colleague on my right side, Mr. Peter D, our cameraman, Charles and Frank, and also the rest of our crew here at the Sound Factory, Lisa and Ramona and getting so many names now. Ramona and Tejais couldn't be with us today. But we want to once again thank you all for tuning into our podcast. And for any information about the Voorbergen family, you can go to our page, which is the Rhythm Factory Podcast on Facebook. Don't forget to click on like and tell your friends to also follow us. You can follow us on YouTube if you type in the Rhythm Factory Podcast. And information about Peter and I are also linked on those pages. That's it for this week, and we'd like to wish you a fantastic week. And sometime in this week, listen to some nice music. If you're with the family, enjoy the music with your family, because that's what it's all about. Take care and see you next time. This was TRFP.